Today we are going to make a Spring internationalization example, which is also called i18n. We have already developed a web application, and now we are going to see how to use i18n localization. i18n, if you want to make a short definition, it is making your web application language independent. You can show your pages in English, in German, in French, in Russian, any language, and we will see how to do it with Spring. We are going to look at Maven configuration, Spring configuration, resource bundles, the Spring controller class, and Spring JSP. First, let's start with our Spring configuration file. What we need here, we need new beans definitions. One of them is message source, which is going to resolve the messages inside the JSPs. Here, there are three properties that we need to be careful. The first property is base name. This is the messages. It's telling that Spring, the properties files are starting with messages. What is properties file? Properties files are our language messages. For example, label title, login page, label first name. If we define it in German, label title, login Seite, label first name, Vorname. And we are letting Spring to access them with messages. As you see, it's under resources folder, and they are under the class path, so Spring can access them. The other thing is use code as default message true. By defining this one, we are telling that if Spring cannot find the message, then it is going to use the label as the message, so it will not give an error. If you don't put this, in case of you are missing a property element in the file, then there will be an error. The third one is the default encoding. It's UTF-8. And our other bean that we are defining is locally resolver. We are defining the default locally here as English, and we are using a local cookie to know which language has been selected. And the other thing is the interceptor. Here we are telling that we are using the parameter name locally as Spring to understand which language to switch. Now let's go to our controller class. In the previous example, we have defined it. Here, as you see in the login page is getting the locally. This locally object, which is when you check, it is Java util locally class. We are using it, and we can set the locally in date format, in which area that you are, the British date format or American date format or European date format. You can define it, so your page will be showing the proper date format for that country. And then we are going to check our view file. Here, how we use the localization in the JSP file. First thing you should do is define the tag library. Define that we are going to use the Spring. And for the Spring, to access the properties file, for example, to access the first name, we are saying Spring message code is equal to label first name. This label first name is coming from our properties file. If you check label first name, it is existing in both of the properties file, in English properties file, in German properties file. So whenever it sees this one, label first name, it is going to get the value from English or Deutsch, German. So this is input name, and the other Spring message for the last name as same here. We are giving the Spring message, and the code is label last name. And the other thing is also on the button we can use it, but here we should be careful, different from the text. When you write between the quotation marks and value in submit, we need to use a parameter. And this parameter is defined here. Again, Spring message code label submit, but this variable is defined here. So this label submit is getting the value from label submit, and it will be showing it on the button value. If you check the label submit value inside the properties file, it is login. If you want, you can change it. So what we did, we put our bean definitions, message source, locally resolver, and interceptor. And then in the home controller, we said that our method is getting locally as a parameter. And in our JSP, we said that we are going to use tag library, Spring, and we are going to use this Spring tag to get the code from the properties file label first name, which are already defined in this properties file. So let's start the program and see how it is working. We are using Tomcat here. Tomcat is pretty fast, so it's starting, and our application, as you see, yes, it started. Now let's go to Spring Web MVC home and see our as you see, I'm defining locally, and DE is for Deutschland, Germany. As you see, Vorname, Familien Nachname. If I change it to English, locally, first name, last name. As you see, we are using the locally parameter, which we have defined it in the application context here, parameter name. These are important. So it's getting these values, first name, last name, from the properties file, which we have defined inside this properties file, first name, last name, Vorname, Familienname, and you can change the language. And we define inside the home that we are using this tag lib, and these are. So this is all for the internationalization. Thanks for listening. Have a nice day.